Okay. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in 2 cases. The first case is cause number M330786. Second case is cause number M330668. Both cases hostile the state of Texas versus Lindsay Ramsey. Ms. Ramsey, is that your full name? Yes. Ms. Ramsey, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Ramsey, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ramsey, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Ramsey?
Good, Andy.
I'm doing fine. Ms. Ramsey, you're here represented by your attorney James Paget. Attorney Paget, how are you doing?
Doing well, Your Honor. Thank you.
And the state is represented in this case by Attorney Colby Hoffpower. And again, Attorney Hoffpower, how are you doing?
Good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Paget, do you waive a record in Ms. Ramsey's cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, in cause number M330786, I have before me a document that is titled Information. In this information, it alleges that on or about August 31st of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed to Class B misdemeanor offense of accident involving damage to vehicle. Ms. Ramsey, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Guilty.
Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, I also have a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. It's also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document? On page 2 of this same document, Ms. Ramsey, there are a set of initials on a line next to a box that says guilty. Did you place your initials on this document? On page 3 of this same document, there's a signature. I think that's a signature. Is this your signature above the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
I also have another document here. This document is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document? Is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? And I have another document here on paper that's titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Ramsey, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney, Mr. Paget, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything that is contained in these documents? And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, sir.
Any objections?
No objections to state
No,
one, Your
no
Honor.
objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Paget, you advised and counseled Ms. Ramsey. Is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, Mr. Paget has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Ms. Ramsey, I will accept your plea guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for a plea of guilty, the state's agreed to recommend 30 days in the county jail, Your Honor, and believe the defendant has credit for 4 days and court costs.
Okay,
Now, we're gonna ask ultimately that those be tax retired once she completes her day, the court costs.
well, I don't think.
Whatever the court
Okay,
wants to do.
this is what we need. Okay, let me do this here. Now, Ms. Ramsey. The state is offering that you serve 30 days in Jefferson County Jail. You have credit for 4 days. You'll be given credit for the 4 days that you've already spent in jail. Now, the court cost in this case is $337. Will you be able to pay the $337 today? Okay, now, Ms. Ramsey, I need to ask you a few questions. Ms. Ramsey, at this time, are you employed?
No, sir.
Okay, so you do not have any source of income, do not receive any type of governmental benefits or anything of that nature? Okay,
Your Honor, if I may step in, the reason she's doing jail time versus probation, she is going to be entering, once she gets out of jail, she's going to be going into a drug and alcohol rehabilitation program
okay,
that they've already found for her, the family's already found for her. So she has quit her job. They're keeping her at home right now until she completes this jail time, and then she'll go straight into rehab.
okay.
So that's why she's not employed. She's actually
Well, that's,
normally
okay.
works and is normally productive.
Okay.
She's
What I would just,
addressing some.
I would just, pursuant to Article 42.15 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, the court has to inquire whether or not a person can afford to pay fine and court costs.
I understand. Your Honor.
And so that's why I was asking, I was trying to find out what her financial situation was. So once she's unemployed, she do not have no source of income. She's not receiving any type of governmental benefits.
She isn't, Your Honor.
And do you have any assets, like do you own a home or anything of that nature?
She owned a car. It was wrecked in the accident here.
Okay,
no
so
longer
she
has
don't-
it.
okay. And basically, so and in terms of expenses, do you rent an apartment or you live with family members?
I was with families.
Okay, and are you required to pay any utility or anything of that nature? And they take care of your food expenses as well? Okay, and I would imagine you don't have since you don't have a car, you don't have no transportation costs, you have no automobile insurance anymore, right? And so basically you have no other bills, is that correct? Okay, so the court is gonna find that you're indigent. Based on the finding of indigent pursuant to Article 42.15 Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, the court costs will be waived, which means you won't have to pay the court costs and you would not have to sit it out.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Ms. Ramsey, do you understand the state's offer in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you think that the state's offer in this case is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. Ramsey, I see here that she'll have until 6 p.m. She have to turn herself in on or before 6 p.m. today. Is that correct?
She has transportation outside. Her father's with her, so she
Okay.
can make sure she gets there.
Okay.
That's gonna run concurrently in the next case.
Okay. 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 Now, Ms. Ramsey, the court is going to follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. The court will move on to your next case. And your next case is clause number M330668. And in this case, Ms. Ramsey, I have before me an information that was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. And in this information, it alleges that on or about July 15 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the class A misdemeanor offense, driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Ms. Ramsey, do you understand what you have been charged with? And to this charge, Ms. Ramsey, how do you plead guilty, not guilty, no contest? With guilty? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you, and are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments. Oh, you check the B, you gotta just check the A box. Oh, this is a class A misdemeanor.
Remember, I explained to you this was an A. Just check it. It's still. A because it's like I explained, I checked it.
Okay. Now, Ms. Ramsey, I also have before me a document that is titled misdemeanor plea admonishments, also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
On page 2 of the same document, there's a set of initials on the line next to the box that's checked guilty.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you place your initials on this document? And on the next document, same document, the next page, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendants. Is that your signature? And on the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that? The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? I also have before me a document that is on paper, and it is titled Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant? Now, Ms. Ramsey, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I've just mentioned to you, did your attorney, Mr. Paget, go over these documents with you? And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? And State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No objections to Exhibit 1, Your Honor.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Paget, again, you've advised and counseled Ms. Ramsey in this case. Is there any evidence that she's currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
And Ms. Ramsey, your attorney, Mr. Paget, has advised you in this case as well. Are you satisfied with his representation? Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, I will accept your plea guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargaining agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for a plea of guilty, the state agrees to recommend 30 days in the Jefferson County Jail and court costs. I believe the defendant has credit for 4 days. This is the record current with the previous day.
Okay,
That is our understanding, Your Honor.
okay. Ms. Ramsey, the state is offering that you serve 30 days in Jefferson County Jail. You won't have to serve 30 days in Jefferson County Jail because you're credit for 4 days. You'll be given that 4 days credit. Now, the court costs in this case is $367, but you will not be required to pay the court costs in this case either, because the court previously found that you were injured, and based on that finding, injury court costs in this case will also be waived. And your jail time is going to start today at or before 6 p.m. Ms. Ramsey, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Ramsey, I'll follow the plea bargaining agreement that you entered into, and This case is going to run concurrent with the previous case. Is that correct? Mr.
Yes, sir.
Hoffer?
That is our.
Okay,
understanding.
okay. So this case is, okay.
I saw you trying to get.
Yeah.
Make eye contact.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
this case is gonna run concurrent with the previous case, which is cause number M330786. That means that they run at the same time. Yeah, okay. Now, Ms. Ramsey, your attorney had informed the court that you, along with your family members, is putting you into a program that is going to basically help you out. Okay. Now, the road to recovery is not a sprint; it's a marathon. Okay. You know the difference between a sprint and a marathon. A sprint is a short race. A marathon is a long race. And what the court would like to tell you is that normally when you, in a long race, you get tired along the way. So in your journey to recovery your journey to maintain sobriety, you may get tired along the way, but you have a support system. Your attorney has informed the court that your family is behind. That's a support system, okay, as well as the people that will be helping you in the facility that you'll be going to. Okay. In the long run, one day you're going to look back and you're going to realize that, you know what, I'm glad I did that, right? Because your life is going to be much better. I know you're young today, but one of these days,
We were just talking about that today.
one of these days, you're not going to be bald headed like me, but you may have some gray hair. But one of these days when you look back, you're going to realize it was all worth it. Okay. And so those people that's your support system, they have your back. I know sometimes people say your friends got your back and all that other stuff. No, it's your parents and your family. They're the ones who supporting you. And so continue to stay in there with them. And I believe you're going to do it. And just make those people proud, okay? All right, so good luck in your journey, in your recovery. And you're gonna stand on the X next to your attorney and follow the directions of our clerk. Once you finish following her direction, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. And Mr. Padgett, you'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
You too.
You're welcome. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session and cause number M331658, case is styled the state of Texas versus Sharonda Garrett. Ms. Garrett, is that your full name?
My name is Shabronda Garrett.
Shabronda, okay. Ms. Garrett, your full name is Shabronda Garrett?
Mhm.
Okay, Ms. Garrett, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. Garrett, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
You may put your hand down. How are you doing, Ms. Garrett?
So what about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking, Ms. Garrett. You're here represented by your attorney, Kyle Walker. And Attorney Walker, do you waive a record in Ms. Garrett's case?
We did.
Ms. Garrett, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information alleges that on or about December 27 of 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, how did that come out like that? I see where you had to scratch through where it was saying driving while intoxicated.
That's what it was on the, I sort of scratched through it.
That's what we couldn't figure out either, so
I don't
we
know.
scratched through it.
That's not, there's no show.
We can dismiss that one too.
Oh, gosh, right?
I think all of the judgment came out like that too? Oh, well, we can't, they're gonna have to, they must have did something wrong in the,
But I don't know how,
when they input it.
I don't know how we're gonna fix
So-
that from.
Oh, hold on a minute. They're talking about non-protoncs and all kind of stuff. Okay, court is back in session and calls number M331658. The case is styled State of Texas versus Tabronda Garrett. Ms. Garrett previously was sworn in. She pled no contest to the information that alleges that on or about December 27, 2021, while she was in Jefferson County, Texas, that she committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespassing. Now, Ms. Garrett, your attorney waived the record in this case, and I have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. And on this document, we scratched through the DWI because it wasn't a DWI, but it's criminal trespassing. And we're passing. And Ms. Garrett, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of this same document, there are a set of initials on a line that's next to a box that's checked no contingent, which means no contest. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, there is a signature above the line that is titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document is titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on this document, on the line that's titled defendant? Now, there are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that? The next document I have is titled discovery certification. Ms. Garrett, do you recognize
Yes, sir.
this document?
Yes,
And
sir.
is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Garrett, before you signed and initiated all of these documents that I have just mentioned to you, did your attorney, Mr. Walker, go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge? State, well, Ms. Garrett, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State I have before me states Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment, and states Exhibit number 2, which is in the court's file, the probable cause affidavit. State, would you like to offer states Exhibits 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
No objection.
No objection. States Exhibits 1 and 2 are admitted. Mr. Walker, you've been advised and counsel, Ms. Garrett, is there any evidence that she is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, sir.
And Ms. Garrett, your attorney, Mr. Walker, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Garrett, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
In exchange for a plea of no contest, the states agreed to recommend 2 days in jail in Jefferson County Jail and court costs. She got credit for 2 days. We asked the court costs to be taxed and retired.
Okay,
I'm not sure if that covers it, but
let's see. Okay, Ms. Garrett, the state is offering that you serve 2 days in Jefferson County Jail. You've already served 2 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already spent. Now, the court cost in this case is $337. Now, you spent 2 days in jail, that will cover $200 of the $337. Will you be able to pay the $137 today?
No, sir.
Now, Ms. Garrett, do you have are you working?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. Now, do you, so you're saying that you do not have the income? Now, Mr. Let me see the affidavit of indigence. I think it was the affidavit of indigence.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, was Garrett on a jail run like last week or? No.
No, sir.
No, but you were appointed, right?
You were
Yes,
appointed.
sir, I am.
Right. Let me do this. I need to look at the. Let me see. Oh. Okay, she received, yeah. Let me do this here. About pursuant to Article 1.24 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, all proceedings and trials shall be public. However, pursuant to Lilly versus State 365 Southwest 3321, right to public trial is not absolute and may be outweighed by other competing interests such as security, also the non-public publishing of non-public information, as well as the in a fair trial. Now, Mr. Walker, the court is going to ask your client, Ms. Garrett, some questions, and the questions that I'm going to ask may result in a disclosure of non-public information, or you requesting that this part of the proceeding be closed to the public to prevent the disclosure of non-public information.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the court finds that what is seeking the closure has come forward with a sufficient reason, and the reason for the closure is to prevent the non-disclosure of public information. The court finds that this reason for the closure is no broader than necessary to protect the defendant's interests. The court also finds that the court has also considered other reasonable alternatives, and the court finds that this finding is sufficient for the closure of this proceeding. So at this time, this proceeding will be closed.